Hey guys, Omega Dan here and welcome back to the channel. Now earlier this year, Samsung released their new A series phones, which are at more affordable prices compared to the S line and the Note series. But the question is, how do one of these phones, the A50, stack up to the rest of the competition in the mid-range market? And if you got one for yourself, does it really live up to the hype? Well, let's find out in my review. The Samsung Galaxy A50's frame and back are made from plastic, yet has quite the reflective surface. Light is reflected in a sort of, in my opinion, holographic way to the point that it is like you are seeing different color shifts, which I found pleasing to the eye. At the bottom is a USB-C port, a headphone jack, and the speaker grill. At the side is the volume rocker and power button. The phone has no IP rating for water and dust resistance, so don't even think about using it near a pool or shower. Despite it being made out of plastic, it does feel comfortable in the hand and doesn't feel cheaply made by any means. The A50 has a 6.4-inch Super AMOLED display with 1080p resolution and a 19.5 by 9 aspect ratio. Samsung once again delivers with a screen that looks pretty great with 403 ppi and has deep blacks, great color reproduction, and vibrancy. It can also go up to 550 nits of brightness in auto mode, which makes seeing the screen outdoors quite bearable. There is a water drop notch which I grew used to over time and didn't ruin my viewing experience at all. There's an always-on display which shows the time and notifications and an in-display fingerprint scanner. Unfortunately, it has been quite troublesome to use as it fails on numerous occasions to recognize my fingerprint and is slow compared to a normal fingerprint scanner. I strongly urge you to use a PIN code as a backup. Sadly, there is no dual speaker setup, but the loudness of the single speaker is good despite distortion at max volume. Audio through the headphone jack is pretty good, but doesn't deliver the outstanding level of bass and punchiness as one with a hi-fi DAC does. Call quality is passable, but I do wish the loudness of the call volume was higher, as sometimes it can be hard to hear the person you are talking to. The software is One UI, which is based on Android 9 Pie. It is a clean interface and easy to use, and I am fond of the colorful icons. There are some pre-installed Samsung apps, but thankfully the software isn't as bloated with these apps as some years ago. This is my first time using Bixby, and you can activate it using the power button or wake up voice command. Now, while I still heavily prefer Google Assistant to the Google ecosystem overall, I have to admit that Bixby wasn't that bad, and I can see it being helpful for those who have Samsung devices and who don't really use Google Assistant that much and prefer Bixby. But I was slightly disappointed on how overly reliant it was on Samsung applications, which I think somewhat pale in comparison to what Google has to offer. But Bixby can do a lot of the normal things as well, such as adjusting the settings, translation, setting notifications and events, and so forth. The settings menu seems decently organized, and you can do a variety of things from using a dark mode and utilizing battery and storage management system to changing navigation either between gesture-based or normal navigation controls and tapping the screen to wake. You can also activate face unlocking, which is fast and accurate, but remember, it is not as secure as fingerprint or using a PIN or pattern code. The phone is available with either 64 or 128 gigabytes of onboard storage. There are two SIM card trays, with the second one being used with a micro SD card for storage expansion. The phone contains the Exynos 9610 chipset with 4 GB of RAM. Performance has been quite good, with only a few moments of lagging when swiping left to Bixby Home. Nonetheless, it does handle everyday tasks with ease, from web page browsing to watching YouTube content. Playing games has also been surprisingly pleasant, even with more graphically intensive games like the new Call of Duty Mobile and Asphalt 9. I did notice, however, that some frame rate drops were present on the default graphical setting for Asphalt. Therefore, I would suggest keeping it on medium settings for graphic-heavy games if you want to maintain smoother frame rates. The phone contains a 4000 mAh battery, which managed to easily get me through the entire day with regular to heavy usage. The included charger is 15 watts and can charge the phone in around 90 minutes. At the back, there is a triple camera setup, a 25 megapixel main camera with phase detection autofocus, an 8 megapixel ultra-wide with fixed focus, and a 5 megapixel depth sensor which will mainly be used for portrait mode. By default, the main camera only delivers 12 megapixels unless you go into the aspect ratio and set it to 4:3H, which activates the 25 megapixels. Pictures taken in both 12 and 25 megapixels are pretty sharp with slightly more detail using the 25 megapixels and good dynamic range. The ultra-wide also takes good pictures but does not have the same level of detail when you zoom in. I also noticed a shift in tone with the main camera having a cooler tone than the wide angle, which is warmer and has slightly more saturated colors. Portrait mode with the main camera produces good quality pictures, but the edge detection seems to be a bit poor at times. Night mode helps quite a bit for low light shots as it increases the exposure to provide passable results, but even so, detail and sharpness still take a good hit. The whopping 25 megapixel front camera can take some good pics in proper lighting, and the edge detection does seem slightly better despite a smoothing up effect taking place. Even low light shots are quite usable. Video quality can go only up to 1080p, but the results are good for a phone in this price range, and the electronic image stabilization helps when you are in motion. There are also other modes such as AR emoji, which I suggest you skip, and super slow motion. The Samsung Galaxy A50 is arguably one of the best affordable mid-range phones you can get, and I'm glad that Samsung is putting more focus on the mid-range market. With only a few shortcomings, I can definitely recommend this to anyone looking for a reliable phone at a very affordable price. I'm giving this a 7.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching to the end of this video. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give me a like and subscribe to my channel, as that would really help me out a lot and help the channel to grow so I can provide you all with more content. And hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified of any new future content that comes out on the channel. Also, if you're interested in getting this phone, please look in the video description below so that you can check out the affiliate link and grab one for yourself and also help me out in the process. Thanks again for watching, and please remember to live life and stay connected. Till next time.